Thank you, everyone, for coming out this afternoon. Today, we're going to be talking about how we feel, how the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus feels about Commissioner Tommy Hunter. I am the communications chair for the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus, and we feel that we cannot let Commissioner Tommy Hunter set that kind of presence in the state of Georgia. All over the country, we have seen how these racist and bigoted remarks have been scaring our constituency all over. And we cannot allow that to happen in our own home state. So we are here today to call for the resignation of Tommy Hunter. They once told me that he apologized and he also went to the Civil Rights Museum to show us his apology. But that is not enough. Going to the Civil Rights Museum is not enough for us. You cannot say those things about our beloved Representative John Lewis and think that going to the Civil Rights Museum is going to make it okay. It is not. So now we are going to have our vice chair of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus give her statement on this, Sandra Scott.
Good afternoon. I am State Representative Sandra G. Scott, the Vice Chair of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. Members of the caucus are here today to echo the voices of our constituents across the state who since January the 14th have called for Gwinnett County Commissioner Tommy Hunter's resignation. Commissioner Hunter's blatant disrespect for civil rights leader John Lewis and our fair, free elections in Georgia is completely unacceptable. However, it would seem that this behavior is acceptable if we allow Commissioner Hunter to escape with only a poorly written apology. Now I will introduce Representative Dewar McLean.
Thank you, Representative Scott. I want to say, since that dreadful night back on January 14th, when the Facebook post was posted all over national TV, it's been peaceful marches. It's been peaceful protests at the Gwinnett meetings. I know that because a lot of my constituents have called me to talk about the meetings. What we're asking Commissioner Hunter to do is do the right thing. I know Congressman John Lewis. I knew him before he was a congressman. I know there are three things he's not. One, he's not a racist. Two, he's not a pig. And three, he is not a racist pig. So for Commissioner Hunter to not to know John Lewis, to make those racial statements or those bigotry statements, mean that he needs to spend more time in his community. I know that Representative Kendrick, who's here, who represents a lot of Commissioner Hunter's district. And I know that the people in his district feel that right now is the time for Commissioner Hunter to either step down, resign, or remove himself from office, because the people of Gwinnett need to make sure that they can do the people's work in Gwinnett. We've got to realize at every commission meeting, these folks are there marching and protesting and talking, and the work that's need to be done in the county cannot be done because they are all concerned about Commissioner Hunter, and he can't do his job because they are asking him questions. And I don't think there's a school in his district that he can attend, and I think we've got to make sure that if you're an elected official, you've got to be above the fray. And with that in mind, I don't think we can tolerate Commissioner Hunter staying as a commissioner in Gwinnett County. I don't know if y'all have any questions. I don't know if the chair, Darshan, you want to say a few words?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Representative Darshan Kendrick, and I represent House District 93, which is East DeKalb and South Gwinnett. And Tommy Hunter represents the southern portion of Gwinnett County, which is my district, which is about 60% of my constituents. And I had an opportunity to go to the Board of Commissioner meetings a few weeks back, and to stand and march with some of the constituents that had concerns about his comments and asking for his resignation, as they should have. And one of the things that was interesting to see from my standpoint, as I presented a letter on my letterhead, just letting him know that those comments were unacceptable, was sort of the lack of remorse that I saw coming from Commissioner Hunter. There were a lot of things being said by the other commissioners trying to distance themselves from the commissioner, but not very many words from Commissioner Hunter. And for those of you that don't know, the majority of my district is African Americans. It's about 75%, 76% African Americans, which means that he represents a very, very diverse group of people, including African Americans. And to assault a civil rights leader that's still living and in our community and fighting on the lines of justice, only to not apologize directly to Congressman John Lewis is just unacceptable. So on behalf of the 54,000 that I represent in the State House of Representatives, I think it's a really good time for Commissioner Hunter to look deep within his soul and consider the repercussions of his actions, and do the state of Georgia and his Board of Commissioners and his district what needs to be done, and that is to step aside and let somebody who truly represents the interests of his district to come into that position. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Representative Kendrick. And so with that being said, we're going to conclude our press conference. But I want to make sure that we know that we do not tolerate that kind of language being said about our civil rights leaders. And we cannot stand another day. It's been over 40 days since we first said that we want to call on his resignation. And we cannot stand another day without him responding and stepping down. So again, do we have any questions?
Please let the chairman get in. We members.
I'm Lester Jackson. I'm chairman of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. And we know John Lewis as a true American hero. We know John Lewis as a freedom fighter. We know John Lewis as a man that stand up for injustice. We know John Lewis as a man that sacrificed his body, sacrificed his livelihood, so that everybody could have free speech, so everybody can have the opportunity to succeed in America. John Lewis is an American hero, and anyone who don't appreciate that are talking against the true values of this country: liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness. Now we're able to open up for questions, if there are any.
At this point, is there anything Tommy Hunter can do that would satisfy you other than his resignation?
Thank you very much. I heard the question. It's not satisfying us. I think it's satisfying his constituents, because we're speaking on behalf of his constituents. And I don't know that if it was his first time, I think it may be okay. But if you look at his posts going back several years about the Alabama players, and his posts about not Democrats but demon rats. I mean, so there's a history there. So I can't answer that question, I think. But what I can say though is Tommy Hunter needs to look within himself to make sure that maybe he can, but for him to do that, he needs to step aside, because Gwinnett has to grow. Gwinnett, for the past 30 years, has probably been the fastest growing county in the United States. I've lived there almost 40 years. And I can remember when we had 90,000 people, and we're almost at 900,000. And we're so diverse. We are so diverse, and as Representative Kendrick said, his district is about 75% black. So you got to realize that he's also got to have Hispanics. He also has to have Asians, Caribbeans. And so all I'm saying is, the only thing that I think the best thing for Gwinnett is for Commissioner Hunter to step down or resign.
And if he doesn't, what's next? Because he has been pretty adamant that he's not going to.
I've heard that. I've heard that he's not wanting to resign. He's hired a PR firm to tell him not to come to meetings, not to take public comments. And I just think that's he's not doing his job. And I think if the Ethics Committee do their job in Gwinnett, I think they'll probably have something in place to make sure that that he is, because we only have 4 commissioners in Gwinnett. That's one of the reasons that we're trying to increase the numbers of commissioners in Gwinnett, because now we only have 3 commissioners because Commissioner Hunter is not doing his job.
The county lawyer told commissioners Tuesday, I guess it was, that under state law, they do not have the power to force him to resign or to even suspend him.
And that's what I was talking about, how antiquated we are. You know, that we have not changed our charter. We have not done anything to increase our school board. We have not done anything to increase our commission. And again, like I said, when I moved there in 1978, we had 90,000 people. We had 4 commissioners, 1 chairman. We had 5 school board, and here today we have 900,000 people, and we still have 4 commissioners, 1 chair, and 5 school board members. You know, and we still working on a charter from 1968, and this is 2017, and we need to make sure that we can grow with the times.
And where is that effort at?
The effort right now, I want to say that Pedro Moran dropped a bill this morning to increase the commission size to 6 and have 1 chairman, and also the commission increase the school board to 7, and that was dropped this morning.
Directly related to this, or
It was not directly related to this, but what we're trying to do is make sure that there's representation, within the district, or within the county of Gwinnett. Right now, we feel the people feel they are not being represented at all.
And that wouldn't obviously be necessarily for this session, then, right? Would it have
No, it would be 2018, 2019 is when we're talking the next election cycle, but not this cycle.
You couldn't get it through this session.
Well, it's local legislation, so with local legislation, so it's a good possibility we get the signatures that we need. It can go, it'll pass. You've got 18 House members that represent Gwinnett, and you have I want to say 4 senators. So we just need to make sure we get 50% to do this.
That's not bound by the crossover rules.
No, local legislation is not bound by the crossover rules.
And you think you're well on the way to that?
Oh, we're definitely well on the way. There are a few things that we're planning, which are public hearings to make sure that everybody is on the same page. We've talked about this before. We've got to meet with the commissioners on next Tuesday, and we'll definitely talk about it again. As far as, we need to move with the times. Again, you heard what I just said. 90,000 people, 4 commissioners. 900,000 people, 4 commissioners. You do the math.
Is the goal to have a more diverse representation theoretically, or is it just to have more
Well,
representation?
I think if you looked at the county, it would probably be more diverse, because the way that the map is broke up, it'll be some diversity there, and and the reason some people said, how did you come up with 6? I said, I didn't come up with 6. I said, we'll start somewhere, because Representative Chairman Coleman, 20 years ago, he suggested 10. This was 20 years ago, but he was manhandled by the powers to be. And I'm saying that because, as someone said the other day, well, the county commissioner has not came to us to say that they want this. And my question was, how many kings have came and said that I want another king to be king with me? So I don't think the county commissioners will come and say that they want any more county commissioners because they think that it's fine because they're in charge. I don't think any of the school board would come to say anything because they think that what they have is fine. If they think that in 1978, when you each had about 20,000 people, now you got about 200,000 people, that people are getting representation, something is wrong.
Is that where you see the roadblocks coming?
I see the roadblocks coming with the powers to be within the school board and also within the commission, but not with the people. The people are asking for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.